morning. Hi. Jeff. Welcome, Jeff. Thank you for coming this morning.
Thanks for having us. Tomorrow's a busy
Hey, how you doing?
George, nice to see you.
Good luck to all three of you.
Thank you.
Somebody, please.
Anybody.
Anybody. Well, not quite, but.
Well, we're working on that.
Yeah, we're working on that.
North Fort Myers Civic Association.
That's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Have you been following that Jeff George guy? I tell you what, he's got some. He's got that cameraman following him around. He's got quite a thing going on.
I'm grateful. I get on there and
Truth and advertising.
check out my I check out my performance and try and critique myself. So that's good for me to get it off the Google, the raw footage.
I haven't looked for it.
You know, I have such a hard time watching myself on video. When I render the videos to put on Google, I don't even watch them. I just start the camera, walk away, come back in an hour, and upload it.
Don't have time to do it. So you get like a sign here in the door or whatever. I think Connie's on his way. Yeah. No, just kidding. You could. Anyway.
Okay. All other portions of our meeting have been waived at this time. And I would like to, we're going to end up speaking up here. So I would like to introduce George, Jeff.
Jeff George.
Jeff George. That's two first names.
Easy to get confused.
I have that, I'm sorry. Robert Neal. And Bert Sanders. They will each have 2 minutes to have an introductory statement, and then we will ask them their questions, and then we'll give you a chance to ask questions from the floor. And we'll move this mic around the floor when we're doing that. You all have your questions?
Yes. So we're going to do the introduction and then we'll go over those
Right.
questions.
Three introductions, and then we'll do the questions.
I'll get the questions.
All right, I guess I'll kick things off here. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Jeff George, and I'm running to be your representative in Washington, D.C. for the 14th District of Florida. I want to thank you all for coming out this morning. It's a little cloudy out, so I guess this is as good a place as any to spend a holiday. There is no doubt in anybody's mind, I think, that this is a historic election year. And the choices that we make on November 4th are going to reverberate for a long time to come. And growing up here in Southwest Florida, there's a lot of things that I know about this district. And one of the things that I know is that right now we are not being represented in Washington, D.C. I've been here since 1973, with the exception of the 5 years that I spent in the Army. I've lived and worked here most of my life. And when I look out at the situation that we have today, what I see is that we're all suffering right now from bad decisions that have been made. We are suffering from a federal government that is hopelessly divided along partisan lines. We have been offered from them nothing but war without end, failed environmental and energy policies, and casino-style economy that is based on nothing but more and more debt.
There's your 2 minutes.
Great 2 minutes.
You're not a bad egg though, are you?
Thank you very much. Okay,
Hi, good morning. Good morning. My name is Robert Neal, and I'm running for the United States House because I want to represent you in the United States House of Representatives. For too long, we've not been represented, as Mr. Jordan suggested. I'm a almost lifelong native of Lee County. I was born in Tampa. My parents moved here, the family moved here in 1956. I was 9 months old. I was educated in Lee County Public Schools, went to Edison Community College, and when the University of South Florida had a campus on the Edison Community College site, I attended there also. I didn't graduate because I got married instead of graduating. Actually, I got married twice instead of graduating. But in 1979, I opened my own accounting practice, and I've been preparing income tax returns and doing business for, or doing record keeping for small business since 1979. We need somebody in Washington that can count, because they have let this get away from us. The deficit is out of control. It's over $10 trillion with a T. Your share is about $36,000. Everybody, let's cough that up right away. We are in a desperate financial state in this country, and it hinges on the borrow and spend tactics of the administration in Washington. I hope to change that idea, because we need better for the American people. They need jobs, they need prosperity, they need education, they need health care, and I hope that I can earn your vote today, and you can send me to Washington to represent you.
Okay, Mr. Saunders.
Thank you very much. My name is Bert Saunders. I've had the honor of representing this area in the Florida Senate for the last 10 years. Prior to that, I was in the Florida House of Representatives for 4 years, and I got my education in politics serving on the Cuyahoga County Commission for 8 years. I'm an attorney. You can find out about my position papers and my background at bertsaunders.com, or you can send me an email. I've got all that information on the cards that have been handed out to me. I made the decision to run for the United States House of Representatives because I was sick and tired of the partisan bickering that has really crippled Congress. Congress has an approval rating of less than 9%. And that's because nothing gets done on issues such as immigration reform, health care reform, energy independence. I did the energy bill for the Florida Senate this year. We have a great energy policy for the state of Florida, but we don't have a national energy policy, and that has to be fixed. Issues of fixing the economy. Robert said that we need somebody who can count. Well, we all have calculators. That's not the issue. The issue is we need someone who can work with Democrats, Independents, and Republicans to find solutions to these problems. And I've been doing this for the last 10 years in the Florida Senate, working with my friends on the Democratic side of the aisle. I will tell you, this is a race between Bert Saunders and Connie Mack. It's going to be a Republican elected. And those of you in the room that are Independents or Democrats, if you cast a vote for Robert Neal, and Robert Neal's a decent fellow, you might as well vote for Connie Mack. So I'm asking you today to support me with your help. We can have a representative who lives in this area, who will answer the phone, who will come to meet with you to talk about the issues. I'm looking forward to the questions. Thank you very much.
Okay. The first question relates to entitlement reform. Amid partisan and bipartisan proposals to study entitlement reform, NARFE has historically, if reluctantly, supported shared sacrifice and vigorously opposed being singled out for benefit reductions not required of other retirees. In fact, federal retirees' cost of living adjustments, COLAs, were reduced by $50 billion during the 1980s and early 1990s, while not a dime was cut from Social Security COLAs. In the context of entitlement reform, what is your position on COLA equity between Social Security, federal civilian, and military retirees? You want to start?
And how much time do we have?
5 minutes on each question.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm going to have to talk real slowly if I have 5 minutes on this.
You can be shorter.
Okay. First of all, I don't think any particular class of individuals or employees should be singled out to be treated any differently than the others. For example, you have the government pension offset issue. You have the windfall elimination provisions that really affect federal employees in an unfair way. And I would support the repeal of both of those provisions. I've had the pleasure of working with Treva on getting some information on that, and it's just not fair. It's also not fair that Social Security recipients are treated differently in terms of the COLA, cost of living adjustment, than are other employees that are entitled to the same cost of living adjustment. So I would support bringing equity and parity to that, so that all employees are treated the same. No class of employees, no group of employees should be singled out and disadvantaged in order to balance the budget. Now, in order to fund these programs, obviously we have to get ourselves out of the economic problems that we're in. For those of you that, the bailout program that the federal government just approved, I supported that. Now the polling shows that most people are opposed to that. I supported it because, even with that knowledge, because I am convinced that the only way we're going to get out of this economic problem that we're in, and I heard somebody talking about the Great Depression, this is the worst economic situation we've been in since the Great Depression. It's not as bad as the Great Depression, but it's the worst that certainly the younger generation has ever seen. In order to get out of that, we need to invest in our own economy, and that's what I consider this to be. This is an investment by the American taxpayers in the American economy for our future and the future of our children. That's the only way we're going to be able to fund all of these programs, all of these entitlement programs, is by growing our economy, reducing taxes, taking the burden off our businesses and our individuals, and spurring economic growth. Thank you.
Thank you for having me here again today. I visited with you, I'm sure, in 2006 when I was a candidate for the same office. I think I must have killed the brain cell about 2004 because I don't remember specifically. But I have not changed my position in supporting your efforts to attain equity and parity in the COLA adjustments on your... I'm sorry? I haven't changed my positions in supporting equity and parity for your COLA adjustments and the other things that are imposed upon retired federal employees. I have been consistent in that, in offering to bring it to the floor for a vote. At worst case, if we brought it to the floor and had a vote, then they could turn it down, but they won't even bring it to the floor to have a vote, and that's just distasteful to me. So I will continue to support that effort. Unfortunately, the COLAs might not be as large because we'd have a significant economic downturn, but if the COLAs are coming out for Social Security, COLAs need to come out for the retired federal employees too. So I hope you'll continue to support me in an effort to represent you in the United States House of Representatives.
Mr. George.
On the issue of COLAs, my answer here is very simple. I think that there should be one federal COLA standard, and that's it. It should apply for current federal employees, it should apply for the military, it should apply to Social Security, and it should apply to retirees as well. I think that if we have a situation where everybody who is dependent on that federal COLA is getting the same rate that the folks in Congress are voting for themselves every year, then we should have no problems with everybody getting a decent COLA. I also support getting rid of the windfall elimination provision, and the GPO, and this is something that we will that I will fight for you in Congress for as well. Now, when we look at the economic situation that we have right now, as Mr. Neal pointed out, clearly the COLA probably isn't going to be as good, but we have to change the mentality that we have in Washington now, that so many people seem to think that government is bad, and that if we just somehow get government further out of everybody's lives, if we get government out of the financial sector, out of the banking sector, out of the market, we'll do better. And it's amazing that even as we're seeing what's happening now, even as we're seeing the results of over 3 decades of deregulation, there are still people who are calling for further deregulation and shrinking down the government. And I think at this point, this is the exact opposite of what we need to be doing. We need to first and foremost, make sure that we have a reliable stream of revenue coming into the economy. That means for the great majority of Americans, I would like to see taxes stay the same or perhaps drop a little bit. But for the upper 1%, those who make an average of $2.5 million per year, I think that as it stands right now, they're not paying their fair share in taxes. The top 5%, which starts with those who average at around $300,000 a year, I think that they can stand to see an increase as well. And the reason that I say this is we talk about making sure that we have parity and equity, but the bottom line is that we've got to make sure that the retirees out there, like yourselves, who are struggling, I believe the average here in Florida is about $1,600 a month for a federal retiree is what you're getting in it.
Net.
Net, yes, yes. So clearly there's a big difference there between $1,600 a month, netting $1,600 a month and $300,000 a year. So we need to make sure that we have the revenue in place, and we need to reinvest in the working class. We need to reinvest in the American middle class. And in order to do that, we have to make sure that we are providing for health care, which I know we'll talk about a little later. We need to make sure that everybody's pensions are secure, and we need to reinvest in infrastructure and education. And all of these things go together. And when we talk about making sure that your benefits are taken care of, this all comes under the broader category of making sure that we have the recognition that we're all in this together, and that the government does have a role to play in ensuring that every American is treated fairly.
Sharon?
Yes.
Can I make two quick comments here?
Let's let them go through this, and then we're going to have it open to the floor.
Our next question is on health care. The Federal Employees Health Benefits Program, FEHBP, is the nation's largest employer-sponsored health plan. Successful since its creation in 1959, the FEHBP covers some 8 million workers, retirees, and their families. For almost 50 years, this program has been so successful that past and present presidential candidates have proposed using the FEHBP as the model for expanding coverage of the uninsured and underinsured. What are your ideas for addressing our nation's health care needs? Would you favor having persons outside the federal community be made eligible to enroll in the FEHBP? And if so, should the new block of enrollees be placed in a separate risk pool? And who pays the government employer's portion of the premium charge for others that are not employed or previously employed by the government?
Okay, would you start, Robert? Yeah.
How many of you are covered by the Federal Employees Health Benefits Program? Is there anybody that is also covered by Medicare? Okay, so there's two programs that are available to you in some cases, and it depends on whether you work other than for the federal government, if I'm understanding this correctly. No. Okay, educate me quickly.
Yeah. We paid into Medicare Part A while we were employed, and so we are entitled to that coverage. And Part B we have to enroll for and pay, and it gets deducted.
Okay.
So you have FEHB as your primary until you turn 65. At 65, Medicare becomes your primary, and your FEHB becomes your secondary.
Okay.
Standard cost.
The point is this, and this is what Congressman Mack and Senator Saunders don't understand. Healthcare is infrastructure. It's just like roads and bridges, ports and airports, police and fire. Education and healthcare are part of the infrastructure of this country. Everybody uses it, everybody pays. And until we recognize that everybody needs to be highly educated and healthy, we will not be able to compete in the world economy where things are moving so quickly anymore that our children are being left behind because they are undereducated compared to some of the children in India and China and other places around the world. We must reinvest in the infrastructure we know as healthcare and education. Now, if you examine my website, I have a plan to expand the Medicare program. The Medicare program is in place and it works. I know because I've often asked seniors to give up their Medicare benefits and they won't do it. So that means it's working. What I propose to do is every time a newly elected president raises his or her hand to take the oath of office, I think we should change the age for eligibility for Medicare. So next January, when the new president raises his hand to take the oath, we would reduce the age for eligibility from 65 to 60 and raise the age of eligibility from 0 or birth to 5. Here's what happens. Now the 60-year-olds, and there's many of them who don't currently have insurance, they're going to start going to the doctor because now they have an insurance program. They will be healthier when they reach age 65, and their care will cost less when they reach age 65. They'll have to pay the $100 plus or minus a month for the Medicare Part B, just like you do and I do. Well, I don't pay it because I'm not age 65 yet, but they'll have to pay it just like our seniors do. And then they'll be entitled to the benefits, so they'll be healthier when they reach 65. Our costs will go down. On the other end, for our youngest Americans, everybody knows that children with good prenatal care and good well baby care and all their immunizations, good nutrition, are better able to go to school and learn. So what will happen is by providing healthier babies to the education process, we will reduce our education costs for these children. Then 4 years from then, we'll change the age again from 60 down to 55 and increase it from 5 to 10. Eventually, we'll collapse the Medicare system so that every American is covered. This is called progressive incrementalism. We do it a little bit at a time until everybody's covered, and that way we can grow our revenues and grow our efficiencies to be able to cover all the costs. This will work, and it will provide a situation where you are in a position to obtain any needed and necessary medical care. And this fellow over here is a miracle, multi-organ transplant, and feels great. I'm so glad to hear that. That is just outstanding.
A lot of luck.
That's great. But we all need to have the confidence that when we are sick and need medical care, that we too would be able to benefit and access that medical care without someone saying, oh, I'm sorry, you don't have enough money, you can't have the medical care that you need. So I hope that you'll support this idea of expanding Medicare. And at this point, I don't think any of you would be left out of that program. But for the folks who are left out, in other words, when we change it from 65 to 60 and 0 to 5, that means people from 5 to 60 aren't covered. But guess what? I'm 52. I'm part of the healthiest bunch of Americans there are because my age is not yet real advanced, and as we collapse that, then it will only be the middle-aged folks who are the ones uncovered, and they're the healthiest anyway, so we can risk them a little bit longer than we can you and me. That's my position on healthcare. I hope you understand it. If not, please visit my website, and there's a video there that I've tried to explain it also. Thank you.